There is a moment from Saturday, the 1st of August, that firefighters around Spokane are still talking about. Late that afternoon, the Old Trails fire had already run northeast off the West Plains and into Riverside State Park, and the only thing standing between it and the north side of the city was the Spokane River. A river is supposed to stop a fire. Open water, a couple of 100 feet across, no fuel on it at all. It did not stop. Wind gusting to 50 miles per hour, that's 80 kilometers per hour, picked up burning debris and threw it clean over the water. The embers landed in the bluffs on the far side. The fire climbed those bluffs, and by nightfall, it was burning in Indian Trail and 5 Mile Prairie, residential streets inside the city limits of the second largest city in Washington state. Around 65,000 people were told to leave. By morning, hundreds of homes were gone. That fire has burned 3,226 acres, about 5 square miles. Now hold that next to this. In eastern Oregon, the Big Grass Fire has burned 504,000 acres, 156 times more ground. And according to the Federal Situation Report published yesterday morning, Big Grass has destroyed 0 structures, not one. The fire that burned 5 square miles is now the most destructive wildfire in the recorded history of Washington state. If you have spent this summer watching acreage totals to judge how bad the season is, that number has been telling you the wrong story. And today, I want to show you why, where the country actually stands, and what the weather does to all of it this week. I'm Walter. Nobody sponsors this channel. No brands, no partnerships, no gear links. Nobody pays me to tell you about the weather, and that is not going to change. Everything here traces to the National Interagency Fire Center, the National Weather Service office in Spokane, and county officials on the ground. Where those sources disagree with each other, I'll tell you they disagree. Start with the mechanism, because once you have it, everything else makes sense. A fire in open rangeland or backcountry timber has one job. It eats fuel and it moves. And acreage is the only number that describes it usefully, because acreage is all it touches. A fire that reaches the edge of a town behaves differently. Long before the flame front arrives, wind lifts burning fragments, bark, pine needles, a fence picket, a piece of shingle, and throws them out ahead, hundreds of yards, sometimes more than a mile. Firefighters call that ember cast or spotting, and it is why the river did not stop Old Trails. Those embers land in a gutter full of dry needles, in mulch pressed against a foundation, in the gap under a deck, in an unscreened attic vent. That, far more often than a wall of flame coming down the street, is what burns a house down, a piece of glowing debris the size of your thumbnail, landing in the one place on your property where it can sit and smolder. So here is where the country stands. The most recent situation report from the National Interagency Fire Center went out yesterday morning, Sunday the 9th at 7:30 Mountain Time. The nation remains at preparedness level 5, the top of a 5-step scale. And what that means in practice is that federal resources are committed to the point where the system has to ration them. Crews and aircraft get assigned by national priority, not by whoever asks first. 94 large fires are uncontained. 30,419 personnel are assigned. 27 complex incident management teams are committed. Year to date, 45,872 fires have burned 6,000,000 328,000 acres. That is 126% of the 10-year average for fire count and 157% of the 10-year average for acres burned. The Northwest is carrying the weight of it. Oregon and Washington together sit at preparedness level 5 on their own, with more than 18,000 people assigned. An incident management team and 59 fireline personnel from Australia and New Zealand are working the Northwest right now, which tells you how thin the domestic bench has gotten. 4 military C-130 air tankers fitted with modular airborne firefighting systems are staged out of Klamath Falls, Oregon, and Redding, California. Around Spokane, 3 fires started within hours of each other on the 1st and are being managed together. Old Trails, 3 miles west of the city, 3,226 acres, 43% contained. Autumn Lane, near 9 Mile Falls, 5,784 acres, 61% contained. Fairview, near Meade, 992 acres, 43% contained. Roughly 10,000 acres in total, about 15 square miles. On structures lost, I have to be straight with you because the counts do not agree and the assessments are not finished. The federal report lists 812 across the 3 fires. Incident Command's own tally, which counts damaged as well as destroyed, has run above 900. All of it is provisional. What is not in dispute: the state is under an emergency declaration with an outdoor burn ban through the 30th of September. 14 people were unaccounted for at one stage, and all 14 were confirmed safe, and no deaths have been reported, which officials credit to how fast and how completely people got out. One of the 3 fires is being investigated as arson, and a man has been arrested and charged. That case has not been decided, and I'll leave it there. Now read the rest of the report with the mechanism in mind. Coleman Creek in Oregon, 308,000 acres, 0 structures lost. Kaiser Canyon in Washington, 138,000 acres, 47 structures. And the largest structure loss anywhere in the country belongs to the Aspen Acres fire in southern Colorado, southwest of Pueblo. 915 structures gone on roughly a fifth the ground big grass has covered. The pattern holds all the way through that document. Acreage tells you how much land burned. It tells you almost nothing about what was lost. The forecast this week does not offer much relief. From the Spokane Forecast Office, a broadly west to east flow aloft holds through Tuesday with near normal temperatures, highs in the upper 80s Fahrenheit, around 31 Celsius, and breezy westerly winds funneling through the Cascade Gaps in the afternoons and evenings, gusting 20 to 35 miles per hour, 32 to 56 kilometers per hour, with humidity dropping into the high teens. Forecasters there describe the fuels as near or at record dryness for this point in the calendar. Wednesday brings the first chance of rain in weeks as a trough drops down near the Canadian border. But be careful how much hope you put in it. That office puts the shower chance at 10 to 20% and states plainly that very little rain is expected. Thursday carries a 10 to 20% thunderstorm chance across northeast Washington and North Idaho, and a thunderstorm over fuel this dry is not relief. It is a lightning delivery system with a wind gust attached. Beyond that, ensemble guidance, and I want to be clear that is model output, not a forecast, hints at above normal temperatures returning late in the week. Confidence there is low. Meanwhile, air quality alerts remain posted across more than a dozen counties in central and eastern Washington and North Idaho, and smoke is expected to stay with the region all week. So here is what to do with all of that. If you live anywhere near wildland, the highest value thing you can do this week costs nothing and takes an afternoon. Clear the first 5 feet around your house. Gutters emptied. Bark mulch pulled back off the siding and swapped for gravel. Firewood moved away from the wall. everything flammable out from under the deck. Attic and crawl space vents screened with metal mesh no coarser than 1/8 of an inch. That 5-foot band is where embercast turns into a house fire. And there are homes still standing in Spokane this morning with the houses on both sides of them gone, largely because of work somebody did before the fire came. Know your evacuation level. 1 means get ready. 2 means be set to leave at a moment's notice. 3 means go now. And on the 1st of August, some people had minutes. Register tonight for your county's alert system. Keep the tank above half and keep a bag by the door with medications, documents, and enough for 72 hours. On smoke, cloth and surgical masks do nothing for wildfire particulate. You want an N95 or a P100. Run your air conditioning on recirculate and check the Air Now fire and smoke map rather than guessing from how the sky looks. If you are heading back into a burned area as levels drop, treat the ash as hazardous. No bare skin and don't stir it up dry. And don't be the next ignition. Washington is under a statewide burn ban, and dragging trailer chains, hot exhaust, and equipment sparks have all started fires this season. Every new one pulls crews off a fire that is already burning. For anything that could affect your safety this week, go to your local National Weather Service office, your county emergency management, and NOAA Weather Radio or your local broadcaster. They issue the warnings, I only report on them. Which brings me back to that river. A river is the thing you point at on a map when you want to feel safe. It is the barrier. It is the line the fire cannot cross. And on the 1st of August, the fire crossed it anyway. Not by burning through it, but by going over the top of it on a wind that did not care what the map said. Sit with that for a second, because it is the whole season in one image. The fire does not read the map. It reads the weather. There is a second image out of Spokane I keep coming back to. There are photographs from the north side of the city that show a street where the houses are gone to the foundation, chimneys standing up out of the ash, a pickup burned down to the rims in a driveway, and then, right behind it, still there, a house, windows intact, paint on the siding. Most of the time, that is not luck. That is somebody who cleaned their gutters in June. Somebody who pulled the mulch back off the foundation and put down gravel. Somebody who screened the vents on a Saturday afternoon and then forgot about it. They did not know a fire was coming. They just did the work, and when the embers came over the river looking for somewhere to land, their house had nothing to offer. You cannot do anything about the wind. You can do something about the 5 feet around your home. And with the fuels this dry and the gap winds coming back every evening this week, this is a good week to go and do it. To the crews holding line across eastern Washington and eastern Oregon tonight, to the men and women who left the middle of their own winter in Australia and New Zealand to come and stand on it alongside them, thank you. I don't think most people watching this know you're out there. I'll be back midweek once we see what that Wednesday system actually does, because a 10 to 20% chance of rain can go 2 very different ways. Subscribe so that one finds you. Watch the wind, not the acreage. Take care of the people next to you, and I'll see you soon. Before you go, tell me below which of these you want next. 1, why do some houses survive a firestorm with the homes either side of them gone? What does the research actually say about hardening a home? 2, how does the National Interagency Fire Center decide which fire gets the crews and the aircraft when everything is at preparedness level 5? 3, what is fuel moisture? How is it measured? And what does record dry for the date actually mean? 4, Should acreage be retired as the headline wildfire number, and what should replace it? 5. Dry lightning. How does a thunderstorm start fires without dropping rain, and can we forecast where it strikes?